We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get Sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage and enjoy the show. Good evening, wrestling fans. I'm Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. We have a lot to discuss on today's episode. We are going to be discussing Ricochet's comments about Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Apollo Crews, along with Sami Zayn. We are also going to be talking about the update which Tony Khan gave about Britt Baker, and of course the really sad news today that Big E has officially retired from professional wrestling. And then also, to end the week with a little bit of a debate, we are going to be discussing if MJF should stay or leave AEW at the end of his current contract. Also, apologies for us going late today. I was editing the thumbnail and my computer screen just went into black and white. Not exactly sure what happened there. First time for everything. And the weirdest part is, I did nothing to fix it. It fixed itself. But also joining me today, we have got Anthony and Mary joining us here today. Why is Anthony wearing an El Generico mask? We'll get into it in just a moment. And yeah, talking about that, let's talk about Ricochet, shall we? Because he went on the Mark Hall show this week and he said in it that he felt that WWE tarnished his legacy as a wrestler. And like I said in a YouTube video the other day, that's fair enough for him to say. Personally, I disagree, but it's his career. He can say that. That's okay. But then there was a big uproar on social media about it, so he decided to take it one step further. And then he said that Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews, and Sami Zayn all had bigger legacies before WWE than since. I mean, this seems crazy to me. But Anthony, I want to get your thoughts.
All right. Well, I guess I had to do the El Generico mask to get fully in character for this full burial. Here's the thing with Ricochet. My first exposure to Ricochet, I think, was a lot of people's, which was the Super J Cup with Ospreay and obviously his run in Lucha Underground under the mask. I liked Ricochet, but quite frankly, the guy has an ego problem. You know, you want to be bitter on WWE and you're like, I'm happier in AEW. I have a title. I wasn't happy. I lost my passion. And I'm like, dude, every 5 minutes, you're talking about WWE. It's like an ex that you insist you're over. I'm in a new relationship now, but you talk about it every 5 seconds to try to be relevant. Like, it's getting to the point where it's beyond ridiculous now. Like, Ricochet can't cut a promo if his life depended on it. That's the truth. And I think that's what always held him back in his career, because if you look at the Super J Cup, Ospreay evolved as a performer. He can cut a promo. He's great at storytelling. Ricochet's none of those things. He's just the flips. That's all he is. And it's a shame, but like, dude, and then you're starting to bury people that you worked with. Finn Balor is on a bigger stage. Nakamura, bigger stage. Apollo Crews. The truth of the matter with Apollo Crews is, just like Ricochet, he can't cut a promo. And he's not that memorable. That's the truth. Nobody wants to talk about it, but that's the honest truth. There's nothing that he did that was memorable. In Ricochet's case, focus on your own career. Could WWE have done better with you booking-wise? Sure. That could be true with pretty much anybody. But you need to take your own responsibility for it too and look in the mirror. You were given the ball multiple times and you failed. In AEW, are you really lighting the world on fire? Or is the scissors more over than you are? I mean, you got a ball chant that's not for your own skill. And people go, well, the stuff on social media and everything, he's doing it in character. I think that's an excuse. I don't think he's that good of an actor. I think he's just bitter that things didn't work out in WWE, and he won't shut up about it. If you are truly happy in AEW, good for you, dude. Enjoy your career, show them up. That's your best success, chance for revenge. Prove it. But you're not doing that. You're taking every 5 seconds to go, they ruined my legacy. You kind of need to have one in order to have it ruined. And your legacy is not that sparkling, to be perfectly honest. And to say Sami Zayn, El Generico is not more over now than he was before, I don't know if there's a dumber statement. And then you're going after legendary referee Jimmy Corderas. Like, why? Like, seriously, dude? Like, just stop. It's pathetic at this point.
It absolutely is. And that's a great point you make about Jimmy, right? And I went on a huge rant about that yesterday. I'm not going to get back into it again, but really disgusting. But when we talk about these comments, I want to just break down these 4 wrestlers for a second here, right? Because Finn Balor, I mean, people are almost like in hindsight, like I don't want to say overestimating, but they kind of think his career before WWE was more important than it actually was. This guy was a junior heavyweight in New Japan. That was the height of it. He wasn't some huge star outside of WWE. He was big in the lower mid-card, realistically, in New Japan. He had a fantastic main event match once against Okada, but I believe that was the only main event match he had in New Japan. Then as for Shinsuke Nakamura, he was a huge star in Japan. So he's the one name that maybe you can make an argument for here. But even then, since joining WWE, he has become a household name, a worldwide name. So I can't understand how you can properly say that his career has been tarnished in any way. And as for Apollo Crews, all due respect to him, but like he didn't have much of a legacy prior to WWE for that to even ruin. And El Generico did, but Sami Zayn's just done way more. And to be honest, like again, I do disagree with you on the Ricochet having no legacy part, because I do think he had a legacy in Japan and also on the independent scene before joining WWE.
But it's not a legacy to the point where it's like, oh, everything's tarnished. I'm like, dude, like it's a small.
You're right.
You're only getting started.
It's a small portion of the audience that even knew who you were back then. The reason you've gotten pushed to the degree in AEW that you did is because you had WWE next to your name. If we're going to be perfectly honest, otherwise you would have been on Collision and Ring of Honor like everyone else.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree about that.
I don't think he wouldn't have been pushed that quickly if he wasn't former WWE. If he's just coming from the Indies, I don't think he's getting pushed. The thing
is, though, if Ricochet continued on the trajectory he was on prior to signing with NXT, I do believe that he would have probably stayed in Japan. He probably would have had a little bit of a heavyweight run in the mid-card in Japan eventually. And then when AEW started, I think they would have signed him out of the gates. So that's the difference. I do think he was one of the top indie wrestlers before he got signed.
He was, but he didn't have to cut promos. That was his weak point, and that has always been his weak point.
I'm not being funny here, but neither did a lot of the top stars in AEW at the start.
But Ospreay improved. From when he was,
right.
If you look at that match, it was the one that put them both on the map. One became the Shawn Michaels and the other's the Jannetty in this situation. Solid hand, but not the guy.
Harsh words there. Wow. Siren Bear says that you are speaking the facts, Anthony. Fernando says, happy Friday to you. Numero Wantes. Doc Gallows brought back the Festus character last night for MLW's Battle Riot. That is absolutely brilliant. And we got Sloppy Gang 5 as well in the comments. Adrian Padilla says, almost missed the show today. Hope everyone's doing well. Absolutely.
Surprise,
and DCX
homie.
Warlord says, El Generico, I thought you were in Mexico working in an orphanage. I mean,
he was visiting a few people. Otherwise, he's going back to the orphanage this tomorrow.
He's just left now. Yeah, he's left between camera cuts. But
he's on his way back. He's on.
Yeah. It was
Mary, I want to get your thoughts on this entire Ricochet tweet situation.
It's like Anthony hit the nail on the head. You kind of have to start building a legacy in order to kind of talk about it. And I feel like Ricochet, from when he was in NXT to when he did debut on the main roster, it is black black and white between the two. He was on such a hot run with it that when he came to the main roster, it was a little bit like, we're not seeing the charismatic factor of him. Maybe not the promo aspect of him, but all we remember is just he was a phenomenal high flyer. And I think that is what carried him on, even from when back in New Japan to when he was signed to NXT as well. For him to kind of discredit his friends that have actually been there for him through their lows as well, I thought was a little bit like, damn. I know we're PG on here, but I gotta say it. Damn. That hurts. That hurts a little bit. You're showing more of an ego that you really shouldn't be showing. And if that is for character, yikes.
Absolutely. I mean, here is the thing. I mean, like, even if this is in a gimmick, his gimmick is affecting other people in real life. And that's where it's like, this has crossed the line. If you are going to work a gimmick, then on social media, then, you know, it has to be between you and somebody else, and they have to be in on it. Or it's between you and fans or something. He is actually putting other people's careers at risk. And Anthony, you mentioned the Jimmy Cadera's comments.
Yeah.
Jimmy wasn't in on that.
No,
Jimmy
no.
wasn't. And now Jimmy's getting all this abuse, or all of it. He's got spoken to by Ricochet horrifically. I mean, it's really sad to see, to be honest.
I mean, here's the thing. This business is built on respect, and you respect those that came before you. And Jimmy's one of those guys. Jimmy's not involved with any of this. If you want to do this with other people that are in AEW, fine. It's totally fine if you want to do that. But it's also a really dumb business move to burn a bridge with the industry leader, because you don't know, at some point you might have to go back there. You know, you look at Andrade, he's jumped back and forth, has not said a negative word about either company. You look at Tommaso Ciampa, not a negative word about either company. It's really dumb of you to bury a company where, you know, they're the industry leader. Like, regardless, it's unprofessional to do that. Like, really. And I don't, that's probably the dumbest. The other dumb one is when people make statements like Vince Russo made statements of like, I wouldn't go there, I wouldn't go there. If you don't have an offer to go there, it's meaningless. That's like me saying, oh, I won't do this. And I'm like, if you don't have an offer for a Super Bowl ticket, what is that? It means meaningless. So like in Ricochet's case, like it's pointless. It's detracting from your own career, because now people like me that liked you are looking at this going, I've lost more respect for this guy, because it feels like you're holding a title in AEW and you're trying to carry the flag of AEW and promote this new championship that you have. And all anyone thinks of is you're just whining about the place you used to work. It's done. Why are you still complaining about this?
I've got some breaking news I've just received. I have found out that I am not going to the Super Bowl. I've decided I'm not going there. I think I've got no interest, so I'm not going. Wasn't invited, wasn't in the country, didn't have a ticket, not going.
Let him know.
That is essentially what
babe.
Ricochet's done.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you'd burn bridges when, you know, you don't have to. DCX Warlord has the sad news here that NXT interviewer Kelly Kincaid has said that she's no longer going to be under contract with WWE as of February 14th, the wife of Elton Prince. I mean, that absolutely sucks. It really does. I thought she had a lot of talent.
And on Valentine's
well.
Day. You know, it's one of those things that, like, WWE really wasn't using her, so it's not an overall shock. What? Not a lot. Like, they weren't using her to a degree like she was getting used in Ring of Honor before Tony Khan bought it. Like, she was used a lot there.
But she kind of was NXT's Kathy Kelly.
Yeah, but it was like it wasn't used to the degree that like Archie messaged me and was like, who is that? Like, a lot of people I think forgot that, like, she's there. You know, it's a shame. I'm sorry to call out Archie on this, but like, I'm sure he's not the only one. But it's one of those things that, like, she went on
maternity leave for a little bit. That's all it's been, I think, and she came back a couple of weeks ago.
So, you know, I think she'll either end up back with ROH or she'll end up in TNA or possibly MLW. Like, I think she'll land on her feet. Like, I think she has enough friends in this business that she has a good chance. Especially Ian Riccaboni would probably put in a word for her. So, I mean, I'm hoping the best for her. I think she did wrestle a couple times. Like, I think she was a trained wrestler, if I'm not mistaken, but she's
Yeah, she
mostly
was.
been
Yeah,
used
yeah,
as
yeah.
backstage, as an interviewer for most of her career.
But yeah, she definitely did have a couple of matches back in the
Yeah.
day in Ring of Honor. I remember that now. Actually, you said it. I did
Yeah.
completely forget. And of course, yes, it was with my speech all over the place today. Angelina Love in Ring of Honor. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Zach says that it's National Valentine's Shopping Reminder Day. I mean, guys, don't forget it. I certainly have not forgotten it.
I forgot
But
to
just
tell
like every other
here.
man, I am leaving it until the last week. Of course, you got to do that. You have to.
Facts.
But up next, guys, we need to talk about Tony Khan. We need to talk about Britt Baker because, Britt Baker has essentially been missing off TV, right, for a year now, over a year. She was last seen in 2024, and Tony Khan had an interview today, and in it, and I'll get up the interview source in just a second. My Chrome, as it always does, has just shut down. But in it, he was asked about Britt Baker, and he said that he expects her to be back. He just doesn't want to say when. He's a big fan of Britt, but the issue is, there's a lot. It's a really talented roster, but there is now Dynamite and Collision. There's a lot of TV time, so there definitely is space for her. Now, what was interesting about this was the fact that Collision existed last time she was around as well, so I don't really know what was going on there. But, Anthony, I want to get your thoughts on this entire situation.
I mean, here's the thing, and WWE does this too, like you said, with Apollo Crews, the Street Profits. There are people you all of a sudden you don't see. Britt Baker, and especially in AEW, I feel like it's especially there where people disappear, not for a couple months, for over a year, and nobody knows anything. Now, if she's out with an injury or personal thing, that's besides the point. But if she's just not getting used, like we know, Nyla Rose doesn't get used. One of my favorites, which I'm hoping he joins Pepsi Phil soon. Danhausen's been pretty much blacklisted, and we know he's healthy because he's wrestling on the indies. But they don't get used. I don't know what Britt Baker did to sour Tony Khan and I'm not accusing Tony Khan of anything. So, but it feels like people fall out of favor and then just disappear with no explanation. They did the thing with Britt Baker, and then they, the last feud that they did with her with, what's her name? Serena Deeb. And she pretty much was like, yeah, you're nothing. And honestly, no offense to Serena, but she's not a star. Like, Britt wasn't wrong, but I'm sure that rubbed people the wrong way because that was the last time she was seen, was it not? When she was with Deeb?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people got annoyed with that. So it's one of those things that I don't know where she goes. Like if she finishes in AEW, because I don't know what her deal is. I don't know when her contract's up. WWE, I don't really think they can use her. They're already stacked. She could go to TNA, but I don't necessarily know if that's going to happen. She's not going to do Japan, I don't think. MLW's like NWA, it's a notch below what TNA's got going on right now. So I don't really know where she ends up. I know there are a lot of people, speculation, rumors, and innuendo about her with backstage stuff. Like some people love her, some people don't. We've seen the reality show that AEW did in their early days, and it was kind of a mixed bag. Fans kind of view it as, oh, she's doing the creative control thing backstage with no basis of any of it, but fans viewed it that way. And now it's like the complete opposite. Now she's blacklisted. Like it feels like, because she hasn't been on. Now, if she's out for an injury or a legitimate thing, fine. But if she's just not getting used because she fell out of favor politically backstage, you should have just kind of let her go and let her be somewhere else. But if you're just keeping her on the payroll, like you kind of did with Danhausen, just so that they don't jump, I don't know how wise that is business-wise. Now, obviously, he has more than enough money. The family has more than enough money where they could just keep paying people to sit at home. And Britt has that side business as an actual dentist. So
real life
she's
doctor.
she's collecting a paycheck and doing the other passion that she loves. But like, I don't know. From a business standpoint, it's not logical. But if money is no object and you're just trying to prevent her from going elsewhere, okay, it's your money. You do what you want with it. I think if she does go on TV, I don't think she sticks around unless you get some guarantee that, she's not going to be sent home to sit on the couch. Like, they didn't, after the Deep thing, didn't they remove her from the All Out poster? Because she was supposed to be on All Out. And
I think they did, yeah.
They did.
There's a joke in the UK at the minute that it's impossible to see a doctor. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Britt Baker's taken up a job as a doctor in the NHS, honestly, because her theme song says, "You may see me now. We can't see you now. We don't know where you've been."
I mean, honestly, this is the one thing that, like, if she did jump to WWE, you kind of, not that you want Vince back, but I know exactly how she would get booked. She'd be the daughter of Isaac Yankem.
Oh,
that's a deep cut.
Gosh.
Just Google it.
Yeah, I mean, look, here at the end of the day is this. My theory on it is this. I think there's something we don't know. Because I think, and this is important to say too, there was reports which came out last year about her wanting her release, and Britt Baker's camp denied it to any outlet who would ask, said that those were not true. So that does kind of make me think, well, okay, well, if she's clearly sending out that message that she doesn't want her release, then she must be okay not being on TV. Is there something we don't know about? Is there maybe, something like an injury or something like that? I don't know, but I want to see her back on TV. I thought she was a great fit in AEW. Punk famously said she was one of the 4 pillars. And since then, I mean, she's fallen off the face of the earth.
Well, you got to figure Cody was one of those people that probably originally brought her into AEW. And we've seen other people that were Cody's people make the jump. It's different in Britt's case because she's not working the indies. In the case of somebody like Danhausen, he is working the indies. So what's the reason why he's not on AEW TV other than they don't want him on TV, but they keep releasing merchandise for him? Because he is a cash cow and they know it. And they know when he jumps, because it's going to happen, WWE is going to merchandise the heck out of him.
He's going to earn them a lot of money very, very quickly.
A lot of sacks of money. Yes.
Absolutely, he will be. DCX Warlord, I bet he returns during a Casino Gauntlet match. That would be fun. And Numero 1 says, and this is bang on, basically, Tony can't just answer the question without actually answering the question. Either Tony books Britt or just release her. I mean, to be fair to Tony on this one, he did answer it in terms of he says that he expects to see her back. He didn't, like he's previously said, just say that he would like to see her back. He says he expects to see her back, which is a little bit more of a development compared to past ones. But guys, it's
a small
not
improvement.
It's something. It's a little something. But up next, guys, we've got the sad news to talk about. That Big E has officially retired. He confirmed it to Compass on The Beat today. And man, this sucks. Because he was really at the height of his career. He just came off that World Championship reign. And he was a single star. He had the IC title reign as well. And then suddenly it all went bad. And the New Day's momentum since, I mean, they were interesting again for a couple of weeks when they turned heel, but since then they've been nothing. It feels like their careers are kind of just waiting for Big E, but they are going to be waiting forever, it seems, because never say never in pro wrestling. Hopefully a miracle can happen and he can return. But right now it looks like his career is over, and that is heartbreaking. I say that to say this. If this company does not offer him a boatload, and I mean a boatload of money to become a commentator, They are idiots. This guy is a natural for that. He really, really is. He is so good on those kickoff shows. He is so good at calling action. And to put him, I mean, I would honestly have him replace Booker T on NXT commentary. I know some of the fans won't like that. A lot of people like Booker T. But the fact is, NXT is meant to be a developmental show. And Booker T, I don't think, is ever going to be calling action on the main roster again. So bring somebody in who could. Bring somebody in who could do that for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Mary, I want to get your take on this one.
He's officially said that he's officially said, I'm retired. I think this is WWE's big opportunity to just pull the trigger and give him a really good manager role. I know we're looking at Robert Stone as the interim general manager for NXT. Maybe Big E. Maybe Big E. You know, there's so many like interesting opportunities that could be presented to him, even though now that he's officially retired from in-ring competition. I just hope everyone else can accept that. I accepted it the moment that Monday Night Raw when he was supposed to come back as New Day's manager. And when they just decided to turn heel, I listened to Xavier Woods. I said it simple. He is not coming back. He's not coming back ever. Let it go. And I feel like a lot of us need to do the same, but be happy for him that he's still around, that he's still around a lot. And I feel like now that it's official, he could be used in so many good on-screen moments that he could just not really, he can't say no if they give him the right amount.
Exactly. And I mean, look, a lot of WWE's commentators are currently getting older as well. So to put Big E in that position, I do think is something which could be very lucrative for them long term. An idea which is being thrown around in the comments here, DCX Warlord says it, and Shard is saying it as well, is what about him being the GM of NXT or even Evolve? I would love that. I think that that's got a lot of potential. I still, to be honest, would prefer the actual commentator thing just because I do think there's a little bit more you can do and a bit more longevity there. But either one would be brilliant.
I think it's one of those things too where, because we don't know what he's been offered, he might not want to be on the road every week. Might be part of it.
Maybe.
I mean, he was on the road for a long time. And also if he's on the main roster show, even in a commentary position, he would have to be on like the opposite show of the New Day, because whenever he's on there, there's going to be this tension thing and people are going to think, oh, well, he's eventually going to take off the headset and get in the ring and knock them out of the ring or do something. I think NXT,
I'd like that.
I would
I think
love
it would
that,
actually
though.
make the New Day interesting. Have
Beyond
it's like
interesting.
It's like when
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan calls the Death Riders matches, and there's always like an undertone there. I think that could work.
But the difference with the Death Riders thing is Danielson could still go. He can't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that, like, I think NXT would be ideal for him, in all seriousness, former NXT champion. And I think he would thrive in the developmental thing, even behind the scenes. My guess would be, you know, he'd probably be under, if he's not already, he'll be under an employee contract because you know, you know what I mean? So, and that the health insurance stuff like that, like he'll have a job for life in WWE. I don't think that's, if he wants it, he has it. I don't think that's the case. Like, I don't think it's going to be a situation where I'm going, oh, well, you know, how's Big E going to pay his rent or pay his mortgage or whatever? Like, it's not going to be that. Like, he's always going to have employment in this business. It's a matter of like, what spot do you want to put him in? Because he's so entertaining. Like, you kind of want him to host stuff. Because I remember, you know, when they used to do the road trip show, I was one of the funniest things. Ride along.
He was so good on that.
Which I would love if they, like, there was one where he was doing the split in the back seat of the car while making pancakes, which I'm like, okay, that's incredibly dangerous.
Netflix, renew that. What are they doing? They need to get on the phone and renew that.
You know, that's one of those things, like, I love that. Like, it was stuff that, like, you know, there were some that were super entertaining when the Shield was on the card together. New Day, you kind of want Hunter and Sean in the car, because I think all the years of them, they were like married couple. I think Stephanie referred to them as his road wife, if I remember correctly. But it's one of those things that like he's entertaining. He's going to have success even out of wrestling. We saw Braun Strowman have a food show on USA. There's nothing to stop E from doing something like that.
Yeah,
because the guy's pure
that's a good
entertainment.
point.
Luckily, he didn't, it could have ended even worse for what he had.
Yeah.
He had a
His
world
health
title.
is undoubtedly the most important thing.
You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
He
But
had a world title reign. It's possible down the road. We've seen other people come back, so there's always a chance.
let's hope so.
Yeah.
Let's really hope so. But a bit of a fun topic to end the week, guys, because I want to ask you both a question. And this question is, should MJF, at the end of his current AEW contract, jump to WWE, or should he stay in AEW? Obviously, if he goes to WWE, there is always that possibility he could main event a WrestleMania. He could become a household name. He could get those ties to Hollywood. But there is also a chance that that roster is so stacked that maybe he gets overshadowed by the Bron Breakers, maybe he gets overshadowed by Obafemi and all of those, the Trick Williamses, and instead ends up being this generation's Miz, which, I mean, isn't anything bad, but it's potentially a step down from if he stays in AEW and he is the top guy there. We already know he can do Hollywood stuff while he's in AEW. He is already doing it, and he knows where he's at in AEW. He could become a legend there. He could become the face of the company for another 20 years. So, it's a difficult one. And Anthony, I want to get your thoughts first out of the gate. What would you decide in this situation?
I think this is tricky because I don't know when MJF's deal's up. So you'd have to evaluate what the landscape is at that given time. WWE is not being the most creative right now. I don't necessarily think AEW is exactly lighting the world on fire either right now. I mean, there is not that super compelling story in wrestling. MJF, I don't think he's going to wrestle when he's in his mid 40s or 50. I don't think he's going to wrestle very long. I think he will easily make the jump to Hollywood. So it's ultimately, okay, what boxes can he check? If he stays in AEW, he'll have a great career. He will be a GOAT in that company. He will always be a benchmark guy. That's a safety net place. And there's nothing wrong with that. He can be a very wealthy man there. But at the end of the day, he grew up in New York. WWE is in New York. That's its roots. I think it would be inaccurate, and I don't know MJF, but I think it would be inaccurate to assume that he doesn't want a Mania moment at least once. Sting wanted it. They all wanted it. And anyone that stands back and goes, I don't want a WrestleMania moment, you're either A, lying to yourself because you were never going to get it, much like the Super Bowl tickets that Ben and I turned down, or, maybe you actually do mean it. Like somebody like Darby saying he doesn't want it. Okay, fine. He's crazy enough to believe that actually mean that. But I would think somebody like a Kenny Omega would probably want a Mania moment before he calls it quits. The Bucks. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they don't. But I would think the majority of people that got in this business, majority of people that became fans of this business, probably their first exposure was probably WWE. And they probably dreamed of a WrestleMania moment. It is the Super Bowl of wrestling. There's nothing else that comes close to it. Other places will claim, oh, this is the biggest show of the year. It's not. Mania is its own thing. Ben, you've been to All In. You've been to things. You've been to Mania. In your opinion, is there anything like Mania? You were there.
There isn't. Look, All In Wembley is very close in terms of when you're in that stadium, the vibe similar. But what's not similar is everything around Mania. That's what makes Mania really special.
You know what? This is one of those things, and I don't think I told you this. I was at WrestleMania 15. So 25 years later, I was at 39. I've been to a number of different shows, been to Rumbles, been to a bunch of stuff. I didn't realize that feel. I didn't feel that again till I was at 39, and I felt it again at 40 and 41. It's different. I don't know how to explain it unless you've been there. It's a different feel. I've been to tons of different shows, major shows. It's different. I don't know how else to explain it, and you don't get it unless you've done it.
It is the biggest show in wrestling, factually, and I do have a theory on this MJF stuff. But before I get to that, I want to get to Mary's thoughts. What do you think about this entire situation?
To someone of the eliteness, I'm just going to say it flat out simple. It would be the silliest decision for him to go back to WWE or join WWE at the end of his deal when he's already kind of done that, when he's already kind of teased that before. And if he didn't jump the first time, he's not going to jump at the end of this deal or the deal after that or the deal after that or the deal after that. He's AEW forever. And that's just fact. He's on the generational run of his career currently, and let him actually main event Wembley or All In, to be specific, before we start talking about him wanting his WrestleMania moment. He hasn't even had the All In moment, to say the least, before we can start saying, yeah, maybe he does want to main event WrestleMania at some point in his career. Let him do what he's doing now first before we start talking about other things down the road. He's not going to get an ankle tattoo that says AEW forever if he's just going to jump ship. I think that's silly, if you ask me.
I mean, to be fair, he has had an all-in moment. He did main event in 2023 and defeat Adam Cole, but you are right in terms of, if he stays in AEW, he will be a certified legend there. He will be, that company's Hulk Hogan, dare I say, for years and years and years to come, for the next 50 or so years. And I believe AEW will be around that long. I truly do. But at the same time, to Ant's point, is he missing out on stuff?
Wasn't the tattoo
Everyone is.
Wasn't the tattoo fake, though? Because afterwards we saw, after it, the tattoo disappeared.
Well,
I feel like
not to be silly, doesn't his boot cover most of it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is fake. It is fake.
Yeah.
Bet on
So
yourself.
it's fake.
I mean, listen, when he got it, I remember going, convenient location, because if you ever do jump, then, it won't be seen. But obviously it wasn't real anyway. But, here's the thing. He's going to have a successful career regardless. It's ultimately what he wants. Does he need a Mania moment?
No.
It depends.
He doesn't need it.
It depends on what he wants. It's what eluded Punk. Punk, the Mania main event, that was a thing. That was always the thing. He always wanted it. And you saw how emotional he was on Unreal, which, by the way, side note, I know we don't have much time, but I laugh at the people getting mad at Unreal. And it's a behind the scenes thing, like any other show. I love it. You all love the dirt sheet stuff for it, but I don't like that they're exposing it. I'm like, you listen to podcasts, read books, see documentaries on everything with wrestling. Oh, God forbid they actually show it 3 months after or whatever it is.
But
really?
I do want to read out some of these comments quickly, but I do agree with you on Real. We've got Donnie saying MJF will join WWE if for no other reason than his ego and his legacy. Meanwhile, Milst 1989 says he's a lifer just like Tony Storm will be. And Fernando says, what's MJF missing out on? He's the top guy of his industry. Good point, but I do have a theory, guys. And my theory is this. Originally, his deal was meant to be up January 2024, January the 1st, 2024. And at the time he signed a new deal, he signed it, secretly and all of this. I think he signed a 3-year extension. And I think he is going to be leaving AEW, or at least in his head right now, believes that he's going to leave AEW on January 1st, 2027. And why do I theorize this? because suddenly he's doing a lot more independent dates. Suddenly he's putting people over and showcasing them on the independent scene a lot more. Suddenly he's a lot more active about independent wrestling online. He's working with younger wrestlers. I think he is doing a long-winded farewell tour. I think he is going to leave the company at the end of this year. But I do think it's a risky move, to Mary's point. I really do, because you are going to a company where they are currently making around the same age a lot of top stars at once. And
he would not
those
fit.
top stars are very, very good. And I mean, look, he can cut a promo better than any of them, right? So he's going to have to hope that can, help him out there. But I do think it's a risk.
The one problem that he has in AEW is because he's so good on the mic, he exposes everybody else that he's in the mic battle with, because most of them can't carry their weight in the promo battles. The reason why his probably most successful feud in AEW, and people may disagree with this, was Punk, was because they were able to make it work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he went to WWE, got his Mania moment, he could do the Hollywood thing, because I don't think he's going to stay long term, but I don't think he would jump January 2027, because if he jumped, it'd be the Rumble, and could he jump somebody the Raw after Mania? I think that's a distinct possibility in 27. If he
why not show up at the Rumble?
Because I think if you want him to win. You don't want him in the Rumble to lose.
Yeah, but they never do that, do they? They never immediately put someone from another company at the
Royce
top.
Keys didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, and I love Powerhouse Hobbs, but MJF is a higher bracket, 2-time world champion in the company, probably the most blue chip one they can get, that they took from MLW, which people seem to forget and think he's an AEW original. He technically isn't. Technically he was with another company. And they can, by the way, side note, the reason why they were able to sign him is because the MLW contract said they couldn't be with WWE or TNA. But AEW didn't exist. AEW didn't exist. It was a loophole because AEW didn't exist. So it wasn't excluded in there.
But that does, guys, bring us to the end of today's show. It has been a fun one. Great debate to end it. Mary firmly on the side of staying with AEW. Anthony saying go to WWE. We'll have to wait and see, because I do think January 2027 is when this current deal expires, but we will have to wait and see. I mean, D6 Warlord wants him in TNA. Look, he could elevate that company. I don't disagree with that. But I don't think they can afford him for one date at this point in time, considering they can't afford their current roster by the looks of things. Where's this money? Where's it disappear to?
Jeez.
Lost it on the back of the sofa, honestly. Before you know it, there'll be TNA will be showing up on Shark Tank looking for an investor, honestly. But that does, guys, bring us to the end of the show. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Mary. And thank you to everybody who's been in the comments throughout. We really appreciate you guys being here with us. We will be back at the same time, same place tomorrow to talk a little bit about Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys then. Peace.